I'd read the book when I was 8, which was a little too young to be doing that, but I did, and my parents were happy I was reading. So Stephen King was already in my psyche very, very young.
Leave her alone, honey. She's reading. It's great.
Leave her alone. No.
Just leave her alone. She's reading. Yeah.
Why is she burying things in the backyard?
Yes.
Why is she doing rituals?
It's okay. She's just reading, all right? Leave her alone.
Why is she dressing up like a clown now and scaring us? But yeah, it was very much part of my childhood, and even the film as well, Mary Lambert's Pet Sematary, was also part of my psyche, and all of Stephen King sort of like shaped my childhood, and for better or worse.
You know, I wasn't expecting it or looking for it or thinking, okay, I'm going to go and do, a Stephen King movie, but once you read it, I read it again. I read it when I was younger, and I read it again. It stays with you. It really just stays with you. The man is so accessible. You just find yourself thinking, I could do this, I could do that, or I could read Pet Sematary again. And that was it for me. And then, I didn't realise the amount of work it would take, to play Lewis. I mean, it was hard work. It was really hard work. And, that was it. There's a word for losing a husband. There's, which is you're a widower. What's the word when you've lost your wife?
I think you're still a widower.
It's a widower. There's no word for if you've lost a child. It's such a taboo subject. Once again, King, uses that and gives it again a what if. What if there is a place just over there, literally, just over there you can. And if you can make that absurd jump for whatever reason, then you go on to another journey. And that's the challenge with Pet Sematary, and that's also the joy of actually going on that journey. What would you do? They're a normal husband and wife. What would you do? And then instead of rushing to judgment, well, let's just have a think about it and go down that road for a while and see what happens.
I love him. He's just so kind and so wonderful. And I'm such a mega fan of his, and so to be on set and then also to realize that he's just a warm, wonderful human being was just so great, and he's just so brilliant. And that man cannot deliver a false line. Like, everything is so earnest, and all of his performances I've ever seen, he just acts as something so earnest and so honest. Yeah, it's really great.
He's very easy to work with, is the answer to that question. But watching him last night, I was really like, oh my God, he knows what he's doing.
It's got them tricks.
He really does. He just knows what he's doing.
It was really cool. I wasn't that scared because I knew how everything went and what happens in the story, but it was still a little shocking with the jump scares. But part of the story is goes off into different directions, and there's many little stories. So for the Zelda parts, I was a little scared because I didn't know what happened there. Not really. Maybe for the jump scares, I think I pretty much knew when the jump scares were, but a little bit. I think I was a little shocked, but I pretty much knew what happened, so I was kind of I knew Stephen King wrote it, but I think that's pretty much what I knew him from. And I didn't really see the movie or I didn't read the book, because I think when I'm acting, I think my imagination kind of takes over, and I get really excited when I'm acting. So I think if I saw the original, I might not have as many creative ideas. And I think since this version is different, I think that's also why. Yeah, it was really cool because one moment I could be petting them or something, and then the next moment they would have to get really aggressive. And when they got aggressive, they would I guess they would shake a do something with a teddy bear, and they would go look at him or something. And it'd be really funny to see how they did that. And I think the trainers were really cool. And yeah, it was really cool to see how they did that. But once they got into that evil area in that place, I think it was hard to pet them then, because they were kind of in it already. It was cool because all the makeup was crazy. They did all these spidery veins, so it was really cool with the makeup. And I think it was like the makeup was crazy, and it was really cool. And also it was cool to see like Ellie's motives, you know, and like really get in her head and see why she does all these things. They're really fun because also they have like different styles, so it was cool to see how like they collaborated and like worked together and stuff. They were really funny. Dennis is really animated, and Kevin's really funny, and yeah. Jason was really cool to work with because I remember specific moments where we had to do like very active scenes, and we would do like push-ups and burpees to get ready and pumped up into the scene. And Amy was really inspiring to work with too because she's also a writer as well as an actor, and I also really like writing, and I want to be a writer when I'm older too.
Stephen King has referred to Pet Sematary as his most personal book or his most terrifying book, and the reason why is because it's such a universal theme. Unfortunately, we're all going to deal with grief or death at some point in our lives, and I think we could all relate to that. And it's like, we wanted to take on this story because we think it's an important story to tell. I mean, they made a movie 30 years ago, and I'm sure they'll make it again in 30 years because this is a timeless story.
There's this concept-driven horror. There's horror that you see on a Friday night and you have a great time with it, and then you kind of forget about it. And then Pet Sematary is one of those stories that lingers. It stays with you. It haunts you. It gets under your skin. And those are the movies and the books and the stories that Kevin and I really relate to. So I mean, this was really the big one. If we could have chosen one project to do out of all his books, this would have been the one. So getting it was a dream come true.
We always find it's important to have a little humor in your movie to kind of release the tension, and it's great showing it at a crowd like South by Southwest where people kind of like are there and they get it and they have fun, because a lot of times you'll sit in a horror movie and you'll just hear like silence and you'll go, oh, yeah. People don't get the joke, but sometimes people don't feel right laughing while they're watching this movie that's dealing with such dark subject matter, but we find that it helps release the valve, and it makes
like nervous laughter. Yeah, it's like gallows humor. Yeah, I mean, like the concept is so out there that it's like, I think when we hear people laughing in the audience, they get it and they're going with it and they're along for the ride and they're nervously laughing, going like, oh my God, the cat's back. This is crazy. So for us, it's like Kevin was saying, it's like. That decompression is very important for horror audiences because it lets people kind of just relax and enjoy the movie a little bit, go along for the ride. Communication, I mean, Kevin and I have been working together for 25 years, so we're like an old married couple. So I mean, like, it does get to a point where, I mean, for a long time now, I know which way he's going to go, and he knows which way I'm going to go, and we really see eye to eye on a lot of things. A lot of these movies that we saw that inspired us growing up, we saw it together at the same time. We were sitting next to each other in the theater being inspired by the same movies, and that really informs how you write and direct and the things that really excite you. So by the time we get on set, we've done so much prep and we've known each other for so long, and we've seen so much together that it's really like, if you have a question for Kevin, I'll know what his answer is. So it's helpful for the cast and crew to really have that, It just makes the whole thing run smoother.
It is a legendary book, and he has written so many things, and yet somehow this is the book that keeps coming up. And for me, I had the occasion of reading it when I was younger, and then reading it recently, if you would, when we started this. And it was amazing to me how the same themes impacted me then and now differently, but they had the same kind of, oomph to them. And as you're older, you see them in a slightly different vein. So I think it is, they say, a timeless classic. I think it really is. Two writers worked on this, Matt Greenberg and Jeff Buhler, and they had a very specific sort of take on it, as did we. And then once we had a really good script, we approached Kevin and Dennis because we had seen Starry Eyes. And in a sea of sameness, that movie sticks out as unique, crazy as hell, and really creepy. The disintegration of the lead character is very similar to what Lewis was going to have to go through. So you could see that they understood that kind of storytelling. The thing about Pet Sematary I think is so interesting is it's really a family story. And so fundamentally it's about people trying to hold on to their family in the face of bad decision making. I had never gotten to work with John before, and I've done a lot of films. And you know, what's great about an actor like that who has such a legendary resume is they have almost no ego, really. And so it is a treat to be able to really enjoy his talent and not be concerned about, oh, how's he going to feel? And usually I find the most experienced, the most talented guys are the ones that are, and gals are, you know, sure, what do you want me to do?